Hi, it is Monday, Mindset Monday, and you have tuned in to your girl Deidre, Win with Wells, right? So, before we get started, before I share the tip for today, you know what I want you to do, right? I want you to hit that button, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you know when I'm going live, right? I'm getting new at this whole YouTube thing, or getting better with this whole YouTube stuff, shall I say. But I think my viewers, my subscribers, are definitely going to be patient with me. So today is Mindset Monday. Mindset Monday. Um, Depending on where you are, it may not be Monday. So every day should be focused on your mindset, especially depends on what business you or it doesn't matter what business you're in or what your line of work may be. I think to keep a peaceful life, we all should have a certain mindset. And our mindset definitely depends on how well we handle this thing called life, right? So it's Mindset Monday, and my topic for today is what are you feeding your mind? Hmm. We feed ourselves, we feed our stomachs because it's empty, right? What are we feeding our minds? It's kind of the same thing. I don't know. Your mind doesn't growl per se when it's empty, but I made a statement tonight, and not necessarily I made a statement. It's a statement that I've heard lately, and I had to ask myself, like, how true is that? That is so, so, so true. So, one time before it was, or we used to tell each other, what you don't know won't hurt you, or what they don't know won't hurt them. That is not the case. That is such a fib. That is a fib for my children who will be watching. And just like our beautiful, innocent, young, free spirited children, when they come into this world, we have a child, we birth a child, we come into this world, and we, whether intentionally or not, we feed our children by the things that they see, the things that they hear. Their minds start to soak it, right? It starts to take it in, and we sometimes I've seen these little clips on YouTube and TikTok, more so TikTok, where you hand your baby these items, and then depending on what the baby does with the item, if you hand your baby a comb, and the baby takes the comb and comb his or her hair, then you know that your child has been watching you, right? And with all the items, some kids got all of them right. So imagine, even as a baby, if we fed our children some of the greatest things, some things that we feel like they are too young to know or too young to process, not true. Because some of the items that I've seen mothers, parents hand to their children, and they literally did what was supposed to be done with the item. So if I, at a very young age, starts feeding this young uncontaminated mind knowledge, so much knowledge, whether it be different languages, whether it be arithmetic, whatever. But if we're constantly bringing it to their attention, if they're constantly hearing it, if they're constantly seeing it, imagine the power that your child could have before they're even old enough to have a job or old enough to drive, how much knowledge they would have. And so even if we didn't get those things right with our children, we still have our own minds, and like children, our minds are always needing to be fed. We sometimes feel like the older we get, it's too late, or I'm too old to know these things, or I'm too old to learn a particular skill or whatever it is. That is so not the case. As long as your brain is functioning, it has the ability to soak in anything. And whether we believe it or not, I used to love to, for example, I used to love to listen to a certain kind of music, right? And I would say, depending on what I'm doing, I have my little cleanup jams. If I'm cleaning a house, if I'm doing something like that, I have my playlist, and it gets me through. I'm old school, I have a father who, we listen to old school music, right? And so I would clean up all the time, but then I had this same playlist that I would listen to over and over and over again. I never realized it, but cleaning up at one point was just cleaning up, and it was, I won't say therapeutic, it was what needed to be done, and so I got it done, no matter what mood I was in. But because I didn't realize at the time, but because I started listening to this one particular playlist all the time, all the time, all the time. Yes, slow music, not so happy music. I didn't realize that every time it was time to clean the house, I felt like there were some deep things that I had to think about that I didn't really want to think about, or I was kind of gloomy, or it was this gloomy feeling in the house when I should have been sliding across the floor with the broom, singing a Michael Jackson song or something. But I didn't grasp that. And now that I'm in this space, and now that I'm learning new things, because what I didn't know did hurt me, I now know to feed my mind exciting things. I know to feed my brain things that are going to uplift me, things that are going to cause me to think, or that is going to be a challenge, because then my brain gets to do what it's built to do, which is figure out things, which is solve problems, which is, your brain is magnificent. And this is coming from a person who's also in the medical field. The things that your brain is capable of doing, matter of fact, the things that your brain is already doing, words that are coming out of my mouth, there are signals of me telling my brain that this is what I want to say, and from what I've learned, and it comes out of my mouth. But if it wasn't for my brain processing these things, or me learning these things over the course of my lifetime, I would probably be sitting here kind of stuck, and my brain wouldn't know what to put out. I say that to say, what are we feeding ourselves? What are we feeding our minds? And it's not so much of our environment, because our environment is going to be, especially if you're a child, it's kind of out of your control what your environment is, and who you're around, or who the adults might have around you, and the things that they say. Hopefully, if you're an adult around children, you do watch your words, your languages, because we don't want to get upset as to why our children are saying some not so nice things. It's because they've heard some not so nice things. Don't be surprised the day that they decide to say those not so nice things to you, right? Okay, so again, we have to be careful on the things. And I get TV is so fun. It's I'm 37, and I'm just getting to a place where I can live without television. I now know that I can be without TV, and that is cool, because now in the place of that, I get to feed my mind challenging things. I get to read books. What are we reading? Who are we listening to? Even if you're a person who doesn't really like to read books, there should be some audio that you listen to. And even if it's if you're a cook, if your profession is to cook, dealing with food, even though you may watch videos, or you may be doing things with recipes and all that stuff, I think that you should still be feeding your mind some knowledge outside of food. Um, you should still maybe listen to different languages, or listen to inspirational and motivational things, because your brain processes these things. And even though you're a cook and you're listening to motivational things, or something that's talking about being positive, you will not, it may surprise you, the things that you're able to do in the kitchen, being creative, and making food that really makes people smile from the inside out, because you are feeding your brain these things. Your mind is in a different place now when you go. There was this thing about, or I put love in my food. You will be amazed with the things that you can serve up someone, because you've strengthened your mind, or you've taken your mind mental space to a whole nother level, a positive level, uh, something that is I want to say the right word, something that is everything is beneficial. Not everything is beneficial, but if you read books, if you listen to audios, whatever the case, some people prefer to read over listening to audios. But even with listening, we all listen to music. I'm one of those girls, and I always love you know my rap music. Uh, I love my rap music, and I love my word ratchet music. I like my party music, but I realized that being in that space, all I wanted to do was party, or all I wanted to do was just have fun. I didn't grasp getting in a car and taking a drive, and instead of always listening to rap music or party music, I would listen to audios, or I'm listening to audios, and even in the course of next week or a couple days later, the things that my brain starts to process and think, and the things that I start to speak, not because of the things that I was listening to. So, who are you listening to, and what are you reading? We never get too old for these things. So while we're raising the children and making sure that they learn certain things, make sure you feed them the right things. Make sure that whatever you're feeding them, that you're also feeding your own mind, because it'll help you in the process. What we don't know will hurt us. Knowledge is key, knowledge is power. And so you want to make sure that no matter what we do for fun, because we all want to have fun, we want to let our hair down and literally just enjoy life. But make sure that when we're doing those things, we realize that even while doing those things, our brains are processing them and start to cause us to feel certain emotions. And if you feel like you're a person who's always kind of down in the dumps, or not as motivated as you would like to be, start reading positive things, or start reading things that allows you to grow. And sorry about that, but start reading things that allows you to grow in a sense, and that scratches your brain from what we've always done. Because if you always listen to the same playlist, if you always not reading books anymore because you feel like you're too old to read, imagine how your brain is staying almost like staying in the same grade level forever. But if you continuously scratch your brain by reading things that you've never read before, by gaining knowledge that you didn't know or that you didn't think was beneficial for you to know, you'll start raising your vibrations, you'll start raising, or the way that you think will be beyond average, just because you're feeding your mind the right thing. And it'll cause you to stay in an uplifting place. Matter of fact, what we listen to, what we hear, what we feed our brains is eventually what our environment becomes. And if you don't believe me, just think about it. Just think about it. If you're a person who's always listens to the same music, same genre of music, and I was like that one time. I just told you, I grew up um, being an old school baby, and I'm an 80s baby. But I grew up and I only liked kind of older music and slow music and kind of sad music, not so upbeat. I started finding myself doing certain things that shouldn't be here, but my energy was there because that's what my brain has been processing so much. Or the part of my life where I literally wanted to do was party all the time. Um, Kids, we want to do something more positive besides party all the time. You want to have fun, but you definitely don't want to party all the time. And when partying all the time, I could listen to the beat could barely drop. And I'd be ready to go. I'd be ready to get it. But but now I'm older and I'm doing different things and I'm seeing different things and experiencing so many things. I have to now continue to feed my brain because I need to go to the next grade level. I need to get my mindset from here to here because if I want to continue to experience greater things, if I want more success, I have to scratch my mental because my mindset is ultimately your mindset tells where you've been and where you're going and where you will continue to be if you don't change things up. So, like, sometimes our taste buds get tired of eating the same thing. Your brain, whether you know it or not, gets tired of the same things, which is why most times we get to a point where we feel like we're bored or there's nothing to do. Well, that's because you've outgrown your mindset and it's time to graduate to the next level. Feed your brain knowledge. Knowledge is power. However, it's what you do with knowledge that makes all the difference. Because to know and not do is to not know at all. Quotes of a very, very, very smart individual. Again, you guys, I don't want to be here long, but I had to come by and give you a piece of, some mindset material. And even in my business especially, there's a lot of self growth or self development courses and classes and trainings that we have, and I make it my business to get on every morning, even if something I felt like I may know, my brain may need to constantly hear it because it'll pay off in the end, and I'll be able to elevate to different levels that I've or different levels that I haven't reached before because my brain is not being suffocated in one space and now I'm feeling like nothing is exciting anymore and I'm bored all the time. What are you feeding your minds? What are you listening to? Or who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? And what are you reading? Pick up that book, listen to that audio, whatever it is. If you feel like there's greater things that you need to do in life, you won't do it if you don't change your mindset. And if your mindset is still at grade on the second grade level, how do you expect to know things on a 10th grade level? You won't because you have to pick up that 10th grade book. So do things that you've never done, read books that you've never read, and not just any book. You want to make sure that it's something that is teaching you something that is challenging. You don't want to go and let's just say I loved Clifford the Big Red Dog, right? And even at my age, I feel like I want to just read books and I constantly over and over and over again go and pick up Clifford the Big Red Dog because I liked him, and as a child, that's was one of my favorite cartoons, right? um, Imagine me doing that now and then wanting to be in a place or saying that I'm growing, or yeah, it's my favorite book, but I'm not doing my mindset injustice. I'm gonna continue to stay on that level. Um, and you know, I want to grow. I want to not just, know about Clifford, the Big Red Dog. I want to experience more things in my life. I want to live outside of animation. And in order to grasp the reality of life and things that I've never experienced before, I have to go to the older section in the library and I have to pick up another book, something that I haven't read before, something that I know nothing about, but something that is going to challenge my mind to think, something that is going to push me to either go out here and research some more about it or now it's exciting now. If I was continuously reading Clifford the Big Red Dog, he's great for the children. But I will probably be bored, or I'll find myself after putting down that book and kind of stuck, right? So feed your brain just as much as you feed your bellies, right? Who are you listening to and what are you reading? It is so important. It will make all the difference in the things that you do, the things that you even conquer. Your success in life depends on the knowledge. So the next time someone says what you don't know won't hurt you, ask them if they're okay. Because there are a lot of there might be some things that they don't know, and they don't know that it's maybe they don't know that it's hurting them. But if you were tuning in to Win with Wells, you have the knowledge, and so you can go and share it with someone else. It has been Mindset Monday, and this is your girl Deidre. I enjoy each and every one of you. It has been my pleasure coming by, sharing some of the tips that I've learned along the way, that I'm continuing to learn. Um, Self growth and development, man, amazing. Having your mindset or making sure that your mindset is in a healthy place is not just good for you, it's good for you, the environment, the people who has to be around you, or vice versa. It will be good for the universe, for us all to know things and to seek more knowledge and to grow mentally, because then we'll be limitless. I don't know what that feels like to you guys or what that may sound like to you, but to not have any limits to the things that I do, think, create, feel, because I'm constantly feeding my mind, I take that any day over, the usual. Because we know after living the same life after a certain amount of time, we start to say, I'm bored or there's nothing exciting going on. That's because your brain is still stuck on a grade level that you've already mastered. Allow yourself to graduate. Feed your mind. Remember, when we feed our bellies, we want to feed our brains as well, right? So, again, until next time, be blessed. It has been your girl, Deidre Win with Wells. And until next time, feed your brains. Later.